We're live. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our last minute questions webinar. We are very excited that you are all here. A couple notes before we get started. Live captioning is available. To turn that on, you can click on the three dots at the bottom of your Zoom screen, click languages and speech, and turn on live captions. As we go through the few slides we have today, you can put your questions in the chat and we will get to them very soon. Next slide, please. All right, we want to talk about the qualities of a strong application. One of the qualities is having a strong narrative. The personal details that you provide on your application makes it come to life. So please talk about yourself and your role in your personal examples, not about things you observe. And make sure that you use examples from real life in your essays. We are looking for applicants who your application is how we get to know you, so please make sure that you present yourself in the best way possible. Next slide, please. A good quality to have is having a clear goal. Explain how your goals align with the Tomorrow's Leaders program, and please provide examples of how you are involved in your community. And now I will hand it over to my colleague, Talia.
Hi, everyone. So another component of our application is the academic excellence. So we look for strong academic standing with a B or 80% average or higher. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't apply if you have less than that. We still encourage you to apply because our application looks into many different parts. It's not just merit or like your academics. Another component is at least one recommender should be a current or former teacher or like a principal or somebody that you were involved in an academic setting. So it has to be an academic source, and please make sure at least one of them is an academic source. The other one could be like anyone else, like boss or like when you did an internship, things like that. Okay. Another component is the financial need. So our application will ask you for like a series of questions to assess your financial needs. So you're going to provide detailed financial information to demonstrate your financial need. So please make sure you fill those out to the best of your knowledge and submit it once you do. And don't forget, those financial need information is going to be in your attestation page. So that attestation page is a very important last step of your application. You have to sign it and then basically upload it to the application for your application to be submitted. Your parents have to sign it as well. It's a very important step, okay? And yeah, so I'm going to hand it off to Madison.
Hi, everyone. So let's talk about helpful tips for the application. Number one, start today. If you haven't started yet, you still have time, and we really encourage you to get going and get that application in. So let's talk about these tips. So we want you to be creative. There is a video option for the first essay, the personal statement. We encourage you to use that if you have the ability. It can show some creative editing. It can show, we get to hear the story from your own mouth and your own words. It's a great option. So again, speaking of in your own words, we want you to write the essay in your voice and in your own words. We want to hear the personal examples that really happened to you so that we can get to know you and understand your story. We also want you to proofread all of your answers. It's very important to take a second look. Maybe have a friend take a look as well and proofread. Again, start now. Start as soon as possible. There's still time to submit your application. And if you have any questions, please contact us. Let's go to the next slide. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so Let's go for the number one common mistake, which is the use of AI. When you use AI, you lose personal details. And what we as reviewers are looking for is the personal details. It's your story. It's what makes you you, the leader you are, etc. So please don't use AI. If the reviewers feel like they're reading an essay that uses AI, they are likely to give you a lower score. So other things to look out for are, of course, incomplete answers or missing information. Some common things. Transcripts are required for this application, but you must upload grades 10, 11, and 12 if you have already graduated. It's common for one of those years to be missing. Another thing to go over, as Dahlia mentioned, is the final attestation page for the application. This compiles your information and has you provide a signature to certify that everything is true. That is the final step. So if you have not completed that step yet, your application is not final. Please also remember to put your ASU certificate in the ASU certificate field in the application. Let's talk really quickly about taking photos of documents as well, because sometimes mistakes with documents are common. If you are taking a photo of a transcript, please take a photo of the entire document so that we can see your name, the date, the whole document. Do not zoom in on one specific part. Take a picture of the whole document. Those are some common mistakes. And now let's move on to the next slide. I'm going to turn it back over. Thanks so much. Okay, we have some questions. So let's get to our questions. So the first question is, if I have all the requirements except the strong English, can I still apply?
Okay, so sorry. So English is something that very important to the program because it's conducted in English. But if your English is not as strong as you think, we do have like um, a couple weeks of a course that does work on your English skills. But to short answer, yes, you can apply, but there are opportunities for you to work on your English level, so you can use it during your university like experience.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we are getting a couple of questions about the recommendation letter. Can you clarify that process and what to do if your recommenders are not getting the prompt to enter their recommendation?
Okay, so when you fill out your application and you put in the recommenders information and click save, it should send them the form to fill out. Please have them check their spam folder. And the form is in Arabic and in English, so they get to choose the language they want to fill it out in. But if they don't see it in their spam folder and they don't see it in their email, please email us at the email address right on the screen here, help@tomorrowsleadersprogram.org, and let us know of the situation, and we can help you out with sending out the forms once again or trigger it. So it's 2 recommenders, like we said. One of them has to be an academic source, and the other one can be a mentor or somebody you worked with, or anybody that knows your character, knows your work ethic, something like that. You can't ask family. Just putting that out there.
Dari, can you talk a little bit more about the English testing requirements? And are there any requirements for a score for the TOEFL, the DT, etc.?
Yeah, of course. So when it comes to required exams, the only thing that is required for the application itself is the ASU, which is the Arizona State University English exam. This exam is free, no cost, and it takes 30 to 45 minutes to take the exam. It's like any standard English exam that assesses your comprehension, writing skills, reading skills. So make sure you have some some time to do that, because it is part of your application and you need to upload the certificate to the application. That's the only required exam to take for the application, like to submit it. When it comes to TOEFL and when it comes to IELTS and DET, those examinations are requested later on if you're shortlisted. So once you're shortlisted, our team will coordinate with you to take the TOEFL or the IELTS or the DET, depending on like the availability of those exams, but mostly TOEFL. So the scores are 80 For the TOEFL, it has to be 80 and above. And for the IELTS, believe it was 6 or 7. I can't, something like that. But those costs are covered by the team. You don't have to pay for them once we request them. So it's something down the line for shortlisted candidates. So we'll work with you directly.
Here's a question. I have already submitted my application, but my school transcripts are in Arabic. Will this affect my application at this stage, or will I need to provide translations later?
So, I mean, if you haven't done that already, we do prefer translated versions to come with it, with the original. But if you've already submitted and you don't have translation, that's okay. We have Arabic speakers on the team that could look into your transcripts and assess them. But generally speaking, it would be nice to have, or it's encouraged to have the translated version of the transcript as well as the original one together when you submit them.
I would also add that you can do that translation yourself as long as
Mhm.
you sign and attest that what you've translated is true and accurate. The translation does help our team out a lot in reviewing applications. So just to mention, you could have an official translator do it, or you can do the translation yourself.
Yes,
There's
and please,
another question. Oh, go ahead,
I
Delia.
just wanted to add, and just to please make sure if you do translate it yourself, we do still require the original transcript. So the one that's in Arabic or whatever language it is, and initially it has to be attached so we can compare or see. Yeah, go ahead, Madison. Thank you.
Thank you. So this question, is there any research opportunities during the undergraduate, and how competitive are they?
So that's a question that's specific to each university, but as best as my knowledge, there is opportunities for research, collaboration, or internships. So each university has their own opportunities that they will be sharing with you. You can also ask the MEPI team, that's the TL team that's already on campus there. You can ask other colleagues that are TLU and figure out something that you really want to do when it comes to research or internship or collaboration on any other thing. But generally, yes, there is. And it's something you have to talk about to maybe your counselor, your advisor, whoever that is involved in the process.
Thank you so much. So this next question is about recommendations again. It says, should the recommendations be sent by the recommenders? Can I get it signed personally by them by hand, scan it, and send it myself? So if you could just clarify how the whole recommendation process works through the application, Dahlia, that would be great.
Yeah. So like I said, the recommendation, once you put in, so you're filling out your application, it says the section recommenders, right? You put in their name, your email, their email address, and how you know them. Once you click save on that, it's going to trigger the form, which is the recommendation form. It's going to trigger it and send it to their email addresses. That's when the recommenders will receive the email letting them know that they've been added as a recommender and to write a recommendation on behalf of X person. So then they would go into the form and fill it out and click submit, and it will get added to your application. So it's going to be directly sent to your recommenders. You should not be the one performing any type of signing, copying, or printing out. It's very direct to them. And if they don't see that email or they don't see the form and you've submitted and or you've added them, please let us know. Email us and let us know, and we can help you out with that.
Okay, our next question. Could you please explain how the interview stage works? When do shortlisted applicants usually get notified, and what does the interview focus on?
Okay. So we have a timeline that is available and listed on our website. So it will show you that. Interviews are generally around January. And it's there's a panel. We're going to ask you some questions. You're going to try to answer them to the best of your knowledge, the best of your ability. and we're just going to have it's your opportunity. Basically, it's an opportunity to speak of things you might have not mentioned on your application, and it's a little more, personalized approach. So, and you get to ask us some questions at the end of the interview. So it's an opportunity to get to know you a little more, opportunity to add information you wanted to add, and an opportunity for you to ask us questions. So that's basically the interview.
Here's another question. If I got additional recommendations like a nomination letter, what is the best way to submit that?
Okay, yeah. So a nomination letter, or anything else like that, there is room in our application to to upload the like scholarships, certificates, extracurricular activities, stuff like that. There's a section for that. So you can upload it to that section.
Thank you so much. Let's see. The next question. Uh, is it better for the applicant to have a sibling studying in the partner universities and with a scholarship or not?
It really does not matter. It's like legacy, so it's not going to affect your candidacy. What does affect your candidacy is actually if your application, how well rounded is it, the questions, the prompts you're following, the information you're filling out, the requirements you are, like the transcripts that are required, the ASU test. Those things do affect you. But having a sibling or a relative that is doing, their TLU or TLG at a partner university does not really affect you.
Thank you. So here's another question. If a candidate successfully passes the interview and then takes the required TOEFL IELTS exam, is there still a possibility of being rejected at that stage? Or is the acceptance almost guaranteed once the interview is passed?
That is something that is in the university's discretion. So once you have completed like the TOEFL, the IELTS, that's when the universities start reviewing all the candidates. So and then they roll out the offers, and it's like on a rolling basis. So the universities are the ones that basically sending out offers, and we're helping out with that. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, here's another question. If my family's income is above average, can I apply for the scholarship or is financial need a basic requirement for the application?
You can still apply if your family still makes a little more than the average family in the area. You can still apply.
Here's another question. What do you consider better, someone with nice extracurricular activities and volunteer experience or someone with better English skills?
These are two different things that it's an interesting question. What I want to say is the application is important, so you need to be very focused on like showing yourself, like be authentic, show your leadership skills, your community involvement, things that best represent you. So these are things that we look into and we get a better idea of who you are. And the English is also important because our program is conducted in English and it's conducted at universities that are American style. So English is very important. But English is a skill where you can like work on, like I mentioned, there are English language skill classes that are, one of us is provided by us if you get offered, or shortlisted. The other one, some universities have extra English help classes. So both components are important. So try to utilize them as best as you can, really. But the most important thing is your application. Make sure it's authentic and represents you.
All right, I'm looking at these questions again. Here's a question just to talk about the essays. This question said, should my essay be super professional? So why don't you tell us a little bit more about what we're looking for in our essays?
Yeah, so our essays, there's two of them. One of them is a personal statement, and the other one is a social responsibility essay. The personal statement is like you pick a prompt, right? There's like a few prompts there. You choose one, and you get the option to answer the prompt either in writing as an essay or either in a video, and you get to do editing, the way you want to present that information, right? The most important thing is about those essays is actually sticking to the prompt. So making sure you're following the prompt and actually answering the prompt, and make sure it's like one of the prompts. So make
And if
sure
I could
you're,
just
yeah, go ahead.
add to that, Dahlia, just to clarify, we have two different prompts this year. One is the personal statement, the other is community involvement.
Oh, I'm
So we
sorry.
want to see how involved you are with your community. But like Dahlia said, the important thing is to read the prompt and respond directly to that prompt. That's what we want to hear the answers to, with personal details that make you sound like the best candidate for the program.
Mhm. Thank you, Tina. So that's also, if you do go with the video option, you have the liberty to edit the way that you want or present the prompt response in the way you want. So we also have that option out for you. And we encourage video actually, but whatever, is feasible for you.
All right, we've got a few more questions. So this one says, can I send an application if I'm still in high school?
Yes, if you're still at 12th grade, yeah, you can send out an application. If you haven't completed 12th grade, you qualify still. So, I mean, you do qualify. So, yeah, you can.
Okay, if I'm accepted to TL but not accepted to my first choice university, how does the placement process work?
Yeah, so the universities, so you have basically in the application, you do have the option to rank your options like AUB, AUC, or LAU, however, like third option or third choice, first choice, whichever you want, you will get to do that. And then the universities will like look into your candidacy, and whichever will send you like an offer. So you either accept the offer or you don't. So that's basically how it goes. The placement is like that. So you are not 100% guaranteed like your top choice, basically, because sometimes other universities will offer you something. So keep an open mind.
Okay, so this is another question regarding the personal statement. This one says, should the personal statement be as a story, since mine is like this? So can you talk a little bit about the balance between personal details, the personal statement, story, etc.?
Yeah. So the personal statement, like Tina also had mentioned, it comes from a prompt. So you're gonna read the prompt and then you're gonna think how to incorporate like your story into that prompt to answer it as the best way you can. Um, that's something you need to work on. So when we say personal information or like personal details, that's something we mean by like something that is you. It's authentically you. That's your experience, something you went through, something you did. It's all about you, right? That are authentic, original, basically. So these are what we mean by personal details. So it's that personal touches. We can tell it's a human. It's an authentic, original person that's talking to us through this essay. It gives us a glimpse of you while we're reading as reviewers. So that's what we mean by that. So my advice is please focus and like make sure you understand the prompt and answer the prompt to the best way you can. And you can incorporate stories in there, experiences, situations, maybe a little conversation you had or something like that. It just depends on your like liberty of like how to write. Each person is different in writing. So however way you choose to write.
Okay, so this is a specific question, but I think it could be good to touch on general eligibility requirements.
Mhm.
Is enrolling in a university prevent me from applying to this scholarship? Should I be a freshman, or if I attended a semester or two in a local university, can I still apply? So can you touch on that and also the eligibility requirements of years since graduation, etc.?
Yeah. So if your graduation year from like high school is 2025, you can still apply. And if it's 2024 for certain countries like Yemen, Libya, Iraq, Gaza, West Bank, those you are still eligible, like if you graduated 2024. So when it comes to the follow-up question of being in university for a semester or a year, but if your graduation year is still eligible, but you did do a semester a year in that certain school, you are still eligible to apply. There's a section in our application where it asks you if you enrolled in a university, and you're going to fill out that information that best represents your situation. So you still can go forward with your application. So if your eligibility year does qualify and you did one year or one semester, whichever, you're going to be asked in the application to fill that out. So you will, you're still eligible to apply. So you can submit an application and be reviewed.
Great. So another question, this one will touch on the use of AI. It says, I wrote my essay alone without the use of AI, but when I tried an online AI detector, it was 70%. Is that normal? And how would that affect the application?
So AI is a little tricky too, like, I understand that. So if you're saying it's a very honor system, so if you're saying you haven't used AI, we can usually tell our reviewers are very skilled with like when they're reading the essays, they can tell if an AI is being used or not. So what I could give you as advice is steer away from AI tools as much as you can. Review your essays, be authentic, original, and submit them. That's the best advice I could give you.
Okay, here's a question. Which part of the application is most important in the first evaluation phase? Academics, essays, leadership activities, or financial background?
Actually, they're all important. Actually, they're all components of the application. But the most important thing that you need to do is the Arizona State University exam. So the ASU English test. You need to do that exam and apply and upload the certificate. So so each component of our application is a requirement. So every little detail is going to get assessed, reviewed, and looked at. So please make sure you fill out all the information. You've made sure to review the requirements, the list of documents, the things that we ask you for. Please make sure you do fill them out. So they're all important, all of the parts. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank
And
you.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, you want to go ahead?
So I was just going to remind them of the attestation page. Very important. Very important last step. If you don't do that, your application will not be submitted or get reflected in the back end as submitted. So make sure you do the attestation step.
Okay, so this is another question about TOEFL and SAT. It says, when shortlisted, should I take the TOEFL and or the SAT? So can you clarify that timeline for us?
Yeah, of course. So the TOEFL and the SAT are around the same time, but for the SAT and the TOEFL, we will coordinate with you when you're shortlisted. So we are going to reach out to you and have you scheduled for the SAT or the TOEFL. So the SAT generally, there was like a regional date each year. So it's around March, end of March, depending, or mid-March. So we're going to coordinate those things around those test dates. So we will coordinate with you. We will cover the expenses. You just have to be very responsive and make sure you're following our instructions, really. So those two, we will be coordinating with you after you're shortlisted.
Okay, if we
both
got
required, sorry.
Oh no, you
They're two different requirements, so you can't do either or, yeah. Go ahead, Madison.
Thank you. If we got accepted, do we have to keep a high GPA all our years of uni to keep the scholarship?
Yes, there is a GPA requirement to be still under the Tomorrow's Leaders scholarship. So you need to abide by that. I think it was like 2.5 or something. I can't remember exactly, but the university will let you know of your GPA standing. So you need to keep that GPA to be under the scholarship still.
The GPA is 3.0.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Tina. And there are other requirements too that you need to abide by, not just the GPA. The universities will let you know what they are. So
Okay, so we touched on this in a slideshow a bit, but this question is a good opportunity to expand. What do you
Mhm.
look for in a student, the mission you try to find students to do?
Oh, what we look for in students. Okay, so we look for students that have like good academic standing, like achievement, students that are involved with their community, how they help out in the community, your leadership skills, things like that. So it is called Tomorrow's Leaders, right? So we need to see your leadership skills, the way you are involved in the community, the things you're volunteering in, the things that you want to volunteer in, right? Some of us don't have the opportunities or the setting to be volunteering somewhere, right? Depends on what's available. So we want to look into those things. How are you going to be an influence? How are you going to be a leader? Those are very important things we look for.
Thank you. Here's another question about the essays. Are essays judged mainly on English language level or in the depth and authenticity of the personal story?
Definitely, we look at the authenticity, depth level, and personalization of the essay. That's more important than like the grammar or the English level of it. But we look into that first. Yeah, that's most important.
So this person says, when in December will I be shortlisted and will go to the interview? So can you clarify the timeline of shortlisting and interviews?
Yeah, of course. So once we have reviewed all of your applications after the deadline, that's when people will be selected to go forward for the interview. So that's when you're shortlisted. So that happens around like December, and the interviews happen around January. There is, like I mentioned, a timeline, like sketch or like a timeline picture of how our program is running, like the times and dates for each process. Um, so that's what happens once you are shortlisted. That means you've reached the interview level, and then you get interviewed, and then after that, the universities, and we will actually work with you for TOEFL and SAT. And after those scores have been received, all that information goes to the universities. They review it, look at it, and then start sending out offers. In a nutshell, that's how it is.
Here's a good question. When uploading documents as a PDF, do I upload it as a picture from my phone directly or do I scan them?
A PDF means it's like a file, so it is going to be a scanned document or any other document that's the file type is PDF. You can still upload a picture. That is fine.
I would say the most important thing for uploading documents, if you are taking a picture, make sure the entire document is in the photo. You can see the borders, the names, the dates. So you
Mhm.
can take a picture or upload a scan as long as the entire document is clear and visible.
Yes. Thanks for revisiting that. That's important.
When do we get notified that we have been waitlisted?
I'm not sure what waitlisted means in this.
Shortlisted, we would say.
Shortlisted. Okay. Once you hear from us, basically. So when you hear from us for the interviews, and then you hear from us from like taking the exams that needed like the SAT or the TOEFL, that's basically means you are shortlisted. And that happens, January and on, or like end of December and going up. So that's the time frame for you being in shortlisted mode.
Okay. Is the Syrian General Secondary School National Certificate accepted, and is there a certain required mark for it?
I'm sorry, I'm not very familiar with that document, but I would say what we need the transcripts for are like 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade if you've completed 12th grade. And if you haven't completed 12th grade, that's fine. You just need to absolutely apply, upload 10th and 11th. So those three we are looking into. So any year before that, we do not require it.
If it's a document that is clarifying that you
Yeah.
graduated from secondary school, then please do upload that.
Yes.
If is data missing, our team will contact you to get the data that we need.
Thank you, Tina.
Okay. If you could give applicants one piece of advice that most people don't think about, what would it be?
Definitely starting as soon as you can, as soon as possible, making sure you actually, it's like a list of tips actually. So giving yourself enough time to fill out the application. Don't wait until the last minute to submit your application. That is so you give yourself grace, and maybe there's a technical issue, your Wi-Fi goes down, the website is like lagging. You never know. So protect yourself from those things where you could lose the opportunity to submit your application. So the sooner you submit, the better. And also just making sure all of the requirements of the application are presented in there. Our team generally does a good job with like reaching out if they have like they've noticed data missing or things are missing. We reach out to you, but when we do, be responsive. Make sure you're checking your emails, things like that. But like I said, start your application as soon as possible. Submit it the earlier you can. Make sure you're following the prompts, filling out all the missing information, and also the attestation page. Please make sure you do that one, because that does completely makes your application complete and submitted. Okay. And if you have any issues, technical issues, or you're having some problems with the application, please email us at help@twansleadersprogram.org. One of our team members will respond to you and escalate your ticket or escalate your case. So use us as a resource to help you as well. So
Thank you. Are there elements in the application that applicants tend to underestimate but actually influence the evaluation significantly?
well, like I said, the application is very multi-component. So there are multiple things that our review committee looks into. So we look at your ASU score, which is the English school, like Arizona State University English test. We look at your transcript. We look at your extracurriculars. You look at your recommenders. We look at your transcripts. We look at your essays. We look, it's multi-component. So we look at everything, every single detail you provide us, we're gonna look at, and we're gonna assess, and we're gonna, come up with something with, yeah. So it's all of it is important. So
Okay, we've touched on this a little bit, but it's always good to refresh. How do we translate our transcripts?
yeah, so there's two things you could do. First one is request an official translation. So some schools have like that available, so your school can do that for you. And if you are in a very time limited situation, you don't have that much time because the application is due on November 25th. So the other option is to self-translate, but you have to make sure you are being very genuine, and it's making sure you are translating to the best of your knowledge. So self-translation is okay too. Or if one of your family members help you translate, just as long as you attach the original transcript or the original document with it. That's the most important thing. So these are the two things you could do.
All right. I want to ask about if the criteria is to take one person from every government, as in you take the better person, or does that not count? So can you talk a bit about how many people per country are accepted, the process, etc.?
Yeah. So we look at everyone as, we look at you as a candidate. Sorry, the question is a
Hi,
little.
can I take this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we are very happy to get candidates from all across the countries that we recruit from.
Mhm.
The number of candidates that we select depends on the number of applications we receive, the quality of applications received, and the number of slots open in universities. And that kind of varies each year. So we don't have exact numbers that we provide, but we do encourage you to get your application in, because you can't be selected if you don't apply.
you, Tina.
All right. So the last question I have here is someone saying, do I need a motivation letter? I'm not sure if that refers to the recommendation letter. But Dolly, can you just one more time touch on how the
Yeah.
recommenders get there?
So recommendation letters. So when you go to the recommendation section, the recommender section, you put in their information, including their email address. You hit save. Our application will trigger a recommendation form email to be sent to those email addresses, and they will fill it out. So if they don't see that email, please have them check their junk inbox. And something I really want to highlight is when you do have recommenders that are listed, please let them know in advance that you are listing them as a recommender, so they know that this is coming their way, so they fill it out in a timely manner. And if they don't see that form in their inbox, please have them check their spam or junk in folder. And if they still can't see and they don't know where it is, please email us at the email address on the screen, help@tomorrowsleadersprogram.org, and highlight that to us, and our team will work on sending out the forms once again. So yes, these are how the recommendation form works, or the recommendation letter, basically. And make sure one of your sources is academic.
Okay, we just got one more question in, which is asking about technical issues on the website. Can you just highlight what someone does if they run into a technical problem on the website or the application?
Yeah, of course. So if you run into anything that is, an issue, you can email us with the issue at help@tomorrowsleadersprogram.org. It would be helpful to attach a screenshot of what you're looking at, or if there's something that's like an error or something like that you're trying to relay to us. We will respond to you as soon as possible, and we'll work on the issue on our end as well. So please, if you face any issues with the website, any problems with the website, let us know. I do want to let you know, though, if you have submitted your application and you're done with it, you cannot access it again. So if you have submitted an application, you're done with that, you can't access it anymore. So if you are having that problem, it might be because, or it is because you have submitted it. But if you haven't submitted it and you can't access your application, or anything wrong with your application or the website or anything like that, just email us.
Okay, one more question. Are there opportunities for applicants to receive feedback on their application if they are not shortlisted?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's something we can't accommodate, really. There are a lot of applications each year, so there's too many people. So we cannot provide you with any feedback about your application.
And that was the last of our questions in our Q&A box.
Thank you, Madison. If you do have any follow-up questions, or if you have any things that are very specific to you, like questions that are specific to your situation, please email us. We'll respond.
All right, thanks for attending, everyone, and we wish you best of luck, and we look forward to receiving your applications. Don't wait till the last minute. The deadline, again, is November 25th, and that's only a week out, so make sure to complete your applications on time. Best of luck.